So a couple weeks ago, I put out this video called Why Overwatch Ranked Feels So Miserable. And if you haven't seen it, check it out already. It's a good video. But what is surprising and actually crazy is that the day after this video came out, a dev, Morgan Madron, this guy's a genius, by the way. I've been lucky enough to talk to him in real life. Oh my god, his brain's so big. Anyway, he responded immediately and he said, SK's video is excellent. I pretty much completely agree with all the pain points she brings up. Most of it wasn't surprising to me, but she articulated a few issues specific to top 500 players in ways I hadn't considered before. Definitely took some notes. This is insane. Like, how many times have you seen a AAA developer respond to a YouTube video from someone in the community complaining about something and said that they agree with it and want to fix it? Like, what? This, this is actually crazy. In Overwatch 1, this never would have been a thing. Like, this would be a dream so far away that no one would believe it if it actually happened. Like, the developer communication in Overwatch 2 is so much better now, and it's really great to see. And not only this, but a couple weeks later, Aaron Keller drops a competitive systems are a hot topic with players, and we're jumping into the conversation. He dropped a director's take. I'm gonna read it to you right here. Looking to the future of competitive Overwatch. So, not only did Morgan Madden respond, but they are responding officially in a director's take that is like officially published on Blizzard. It like what? I can't tell you how good this is. At the start, they're just talking about hero updates. They're talking about the idiotic nerfs. And then they're saying they're going to rework Roadhog in season 7. Very exciting. But here's the meat, the juice. Over the past few weeks, more people have been talking about competitive play. Conversations really started to trend following a video from SK. I'd like to join in on the conversation. Mind you, this is the game director of Overwatch, okay? Aaron Keller. He's in the seat that Jeff Kaplan was in Overwatch 1. He says, I agree with a lot of what has been said, and I want to share a glimpse into what the development team is thinking and the direction that we're likely to go with competitive in the future. The team has been working on changes to our competitive mode for some time, but moderate to major changes to the mode won't find their way into the game until sometime down the road. I won't be able to address every issue that people are discussing in this piece, but I would like to address some of the major ones. We'll share more details on specifics as we get closer to releasing the changes. um, this might make people mad, but it's like the best they can do. Like game developer turnaround time, especially for reworking huge things like the competitive system or making big changes to it, that takes a really long time. Like it takes months. When I made that video, I didn't expect anything to come for like a year. I just wanted people to talk about it. And this is more than I ever could have asked for when I made it. Um so I'm very happy about this. And you should be too. Like I really don't like it when people get mad that developers saying, "Hey, we're going to change something." And it's like a really big change. They can't do that in a week, right? Like they can't do that in 2 weeks. They can't do that in a month. It takes a long ass time. There's so many things and like processes that they need to go through and gates to go through. Anyway, some feedback we've heard about the current system is that you're not pleased with how much information about the match and your progress is hidden from you. We understand you want to know how the system works, especially regarding how your rating goes up, down, or even changes at all when you get a competitive update, along with trying to figure out how fair a match is at the start of a game. For instance, we've seen players go 5-2 and be demoted at their next competitive update. So, this is good that they're saying they understand, they want to know, that we want to know how the system works. But he's also not outright saying that we're gonna get SR back. Anyway, I have more to talk about, hang on. Many of the reports investigated so far have occurred due to MMR decay. For instance, if you typically pick DPS and go a significant amount of time between playing other roles, then MMR decay could kick in between updates for lesser played roles. Since decay is tracked per role, this could pull your rating down far enough to cause a demotion. When players see this happen, they would justifiably assume there was an issue with the system. Many of the changes that came with our competitive 2.0 update were based on values centered around pulling frustrating moments out of the experience, but came at the cost of obscuring other information. Okay, this is really bad. I mean, bad that, like, it's a thing in the game right now. Here, I'll show you an example. So they're saying, if you don't play a specific role for a long amount of time, that explains decay kicks in, which, one, I basically have, like, a PhD in how Overwatch Ranked works, and I didn't know decay was still in the game in this form. I thought it was just if you hadn't played in a long time, then your rating would decay on all roles. I didn't know it was role specific. But also, if we go into here, does it really check out? Okay, so in season 3, I'm GM1 with 120 games played. In season 4, I'm GM2 with 44 games played. In season 5, I'm GM2 with 54 games played. But this is the season where I had all of the problems. I would constantly go 5-4 and 5-3 and demote. Like, I got placed GM2 at the start of the season, even though I went 5-0 and I finished GM2 last season. It's very obvious that the system was trying to push me down, and I didn't know why. Even in here, I'm GM4 now. And I can see how this decay thing makes sense, but it's also crazy to me that that's not like mentioned anywhere, and you would have no idea if it's actually affecting you or not. And in my case, I don't think it was affecting me, and I was still going 5-3 in D ranking. So I think I mean, there's more to it than that. And I don't like, I do like that they tried to explain it, but I don't think this explains away everything. It certainly would explain a lot of people's things, like going 5-0 in D ranking, but also, like, let's say you're GM5, okay, and decay kicks in. So the system has you at whatever, but you're still playing in GM5 lobbies, and you go 5-0 in GM5 lobbies, and then you D rank. Like, I understand decay is a thing, but that doesn't really make any sense because you're skilled in decay. You're going 5-0 in GM5 lobbies. It's very clear that you deserve your rank, or even higher. So I don't really understand this part. But the good news is going forward, they're shifting their values to provide more transparency to the mode. This doesn't necessarily mean that the older skill rating measurement is or isn't coming back. That's very important that they mention. In this whole blog, they never really make promises about exactly what they're going to do because they don't know what they're going to do yet. And I think that's fine. But what does worry me is that I don't really see, or I don't want to say I don't trust them. Well, I don't trust them to make a system that can solve all of these problems without just straight up showing you your SR. Like, and I understand if they want to try to do that, but I am worried if they do try and do that. I do think they should just bring it back. As we continue to iterate on the possibilities, we very much appreciate your continued feedback. We want you to have a better understanding of what your true rank is and why wins and losses cause it to move up or down based on the general skill level of all players in a match. I love this line, and like, y'all, they really are listening to us. I feel like up until Overwatch 2 lately, Overwatch devs have never listened to us. Like, Blizzard has never listened to us. Overwatch 1, Brig hard meta for a year, Mercy hard meta for a year, like, everyone complaining, and they just didn't listen, you know? But now we're getting them, like, responding to us on Twitter, we're getting them responding to us in blogs. It's so cool, it makes me happy. Additionally, we understand the way we track progress can cause losses to feel more frustrating. Currently, the system will provide a rank update after every 5 wins or 15 losses. After each win, progress is shown on a screen during the end of round flow, but losses are not. When the game doesn't acknowledge the loss, it can feel as though the whole match was a waste of time. We're making changes so that the system will contribute your progress toward a rank update after every match, whether you win or lose, so that no match feels like a complete waste of time. So, I do love this part. The way we track progress can cause losses to feel more frustrating. But this isn't why the losses feel more frustrating. Losses don't feel frustrating because we can't see the game record update after a loss. I don't know if I've seen anyone really complaining about that. I haven't had a problem with it. I think this is kind of a miss. The first point here, I 100% agree with, but I don't think this is the cause of it. And not that I'm complaining. I don't think it's a bad change, but it is weird. I don't think it'll really do anything. We're also talking about the top 500 leaderboard and some of the unique issues for that experience. If you are in the top 500, you are among the most competitive players in the community, and we think there are additional needs and issues than the rest of the community. A little typo. One example of a unique problem is the difficulty of climbing the top 500 leaderboard later in the season versus playing early in the season when it's easier to place higher. Y'all, I have been trying to get them to like acknowledge this for so long, like since Overwatch 2 release. I don't know, it's been almost a year. I've I've been making YouTube videos about it. I've been tweeting about it. I've been complaining about it in the creator Discord. I've talked to them in person about it. I asked them about it when I was able to interview the devs. And I'm so happy that they're finally acknowledging it. Oh my god. They also have more issues with queue times, grouping with friends, and finding fair matches when the spectrum of skill in this group can still be fairly substantial. That is all true. We also believe that the top 500 experience is a more full-featured experience than how other players interact with competitive. Competing with and passing other players on the ladder makes the top 500 leaderboard exciting. I totally agree. It's not something that most players get to experience, that's also true, and eventually we'd love to find a way for players of other ranks to have an experience in climbing the ranks that feels more granular than just moving in and out of skill tiers. That is awesome. I'm sorry about my monkey in the way. I'm really excited for that. They say it's a long-term goal and something we're just thinking about right now. They have to. I mean, there's no way. Like, this is just an idea that they have and want to implement. There's no guarantee that it'll come in, and if it does, it'll probably be a couple years. But it makes me really happy that that is something that they're considering and something that they do want to add. Overwatch 2 is always evolving and growing, and we'd like for it to be doing that in a way that is exciting for players and a direction that they would like. Y'all, they care. I have like been able to talk to these people. I've been lucky enough to talk to them, like have conversations with them. I've been lucky enough to meet them in person. It makes me so mad when people say that the Overwatch developers don't care. They care more than anyone else. Like, this is their life. This is their passion. They care more than any Overwatch streamer does. They care more than any Overwatch player does. Like, this matters so much to them. And we're in good hands. I promise. I promise. One of the best ways to accomplish this is to have a healthy dialogue between players and developers, which they're doing an amazing job of. Like, if you go on Twitter, like, they're replying to people. They're replying to people in these blogs. They're replying to YouTube videos in these blogs. If you go on Twitter and you check out, like, Morgan Madgen's page, for example, server engineer, Blizzard ENT, this guy, like, makes matchmaking. He's the head honcho behind matchmaking, and he constantly makes, like, polls and stuff for people to answer. And gives you little cool behind the scenes things like, let's see how many people can figure this out in Overwatch. If a player has an internal MMR of 1, what would the player's equivalent rank be? He just like does cool polls and replies to people. And then if you have lore questions, there's Gavin on Twitter. He constantly replies to people asking lore questions. He constantly tweets like silly lore facts. Even Aaron Keller's tweets things like updates, and these directors always give like a little peek into what the dev team is thinking behind the scenes and what they're working on. It's really cool. And I'm happy that we're getting communication like this. Like I said before, in Overwatch 1, this would have been unheard of. Like, a creator makes a YouTube video, the community talks about it, a dev agrees, and then they put a developer blog out the next 2 weeks later acknowledging it and saying like, yo, we see this and we're fixing it. That is insane. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. So some of these competitive changes will be made in the short term, like how we treat MMR decay, which is good. But other issues will be handled with broader changes coming early next year. That's honestly way earlier than I thought would happen if any changes were going to happen. I thought it'd be like a year at least, because developing takes a long time. Like, there's so many hoops they need to go through and so many iterations, and like, yeah. Other issues will be handled. Oh yeah, I already read that. Ultimately, we're aiming to make the system more transparent, add more frequent reporting, open up some of our restrictions for grouping at high skill tiers, which I'm a little worried about. In Overwatch 1, you were able to 3-stack or 6-stack. You were able to 6-stack, 5-stack, 4-stack, and then eventually they made it so you can only 3-stack in GM. But even the 3-stacking was a problem. If you matched against, like, the Overwatch League 3-stack, it was just an auto lose. Like, lost at the start screen, you had no chance, just GG. Which is another element of randomness to rank that I don't really like. But I trust them. I'm sure they can find some sort of way to make it fair. And look to introduce new competitive rewards, which sounds awesome. Let's keep the conversation going. Thank you for reading. I'll see you in game. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you. This is awesome. I'm so happy. And I hope y'all are happy too. Have a good one.